Hey, what's up guys? Max here. Wanted to put a video on Okoye and give you some of my thoughts on the first champion the Kabam releases for 2025. Super excited to be able to cover this, play her, test her out, and give you kind of like what I think about the champion. Now, I'll say this, she's an awesome champion, man. Kabam is not messing around, starting the year with a really good champion this year, and that's really good, man. I think they're setting the bar with Okoye pretty high. I do enjoy the amount of damage she applies. Now, that's going to be through dot, basically, bleed and shock. Now, she crits a lot, but her crit damage is really low, so don't be discouraged when you see yellow numbers at like 70 you know, a couple of hundred. It's not much the crit, but what happens with the crit, this is what happens with the crit right here. We have it in her description. Basically, she's got this very high precision buff that goes up and down as you kind of go through the fight, but every time she crits, she basically applies a bleed and shock on the opponent. So critical hits inflict a bleed and shock debuff, dealing 756 direct damage. Now, the idea here is to be able to launch big specials, especially special 2. There's a lot of hits on the special 2. Critical hits inflict an additional bleed and shock on top of the 1, right? But if it actually special 2 does a non-crit, basically it's just 1 bleed and 1 shock on it. Now, if your opponent's bleed and shock immune, it becomes not a problem as long as they're not immune to 1. If they're immune to bleed but not shock, you still can use her offensively. She actually is a good matchup for some of these fights. But ideally, you want to bring her in situations where the opponent's both not immune to either your bleed or shock. Okay, she does not have any immunities, but and she does not shrug anything. So in that area, offensively, if you need to take her up to, again, certain matchups, you know, depending on the fight you're going up against, is where you want to bring her. If Kabam releases some kind of content metas that require us to have a lot of damage over time champions, then she's going to be great. And she's got an extra little perk that I personally appreciate inside this champion, which is basically this one right here. It says dodging an attack inflicts the opponent with a non-stacking snared debuff. And basically that cripples any type of evade on a champion, which is amazing when it comes to her offensive gameplay. Here, we're going to go take a look basically in the science class and just pick one of the evaders that are very annoying when it comes to defenders inside. Actually, let's do this. Let's go against this Spider-Man. Spider-Mans are typically, there's no Spider-Man here, but their spiders are typically very like slick with their moves, and we're going to demonstrate how that mechanic works. It's super easy. All you got to do is dodge at the beginning of the fight. So basically here we blinded already. The snarl is actually active, and that's it. There's nothing you got to worry about. The debuff actually kind of stays on there for a while, and guess what? I just refreshed it because I just evade. So you really don't have to worry about having to deal with evading when it comes to the defender or the AI. That's it, refreshed again, and then you just can focus on the actual fight, like the combo, everything you need to do when it comes to this fight. And here we go. And we can just launch a special 2. You know how hard it would have been to just counter her with the special with any other champion that doesn't have that mechanic built in? That's where she shines, man. She has specific scenarios where she's going to shine. And we were able to take a rank 3 Spider-Gwen in 33 seconds with 44 hits. Look at the bleed and shock damage she applied. Basically, it all came from that. The biggest hit was 5,000. Okay, so she's not a big hitter, but the time speaks loudly. The time speaks loudly because all the damage came from bleed and shock. Now, keep that in mind, because if the opponent has immune to both of these and she's critting at this high level, she is not going to be a champion you're going to want to use. And that's kind of like the situation where she's going to be great and she's going to be good for those evading champions. Now, where else can she shine? And why? And here's the point. I'm gonna keep it short, guys. When it comes to me being able to talk about this, we are gonna pump out some content on Okoye, some of the fights that she can do. But I'm just gonna cut it here. this is my thoughts on Okoye. I don't know, and this is what this is how I'm gonna be approaching 2025 when it comes to champions. Right now, we're in a situation where we have tons of rank threes. Rank threes are coming in very consistent. Rank twos, and let's not even speak on those, especially if you're Valiant. Now, if you're pushing to become Valiant, then yeah, you're probably trying to figure out who's the best champion for you. But for the players that tend to play competitively, high competitively, somewhat competitively, want to get into that competitive level, I would say this is going to be a situation where you're going to want to like figure out if the champion is worth chasing. You know, Kabam can create some metas, at least in Battlegrounds, that make these champions shine. That's going to be great for that 1 month, okay? And you're probably going to do amazing. But do you already have champions in your Battlegrounds deck, 7 stars or 6 stars ascended, if you're still using those, to be able to deal with those nodes and get some improvement? You probably do, you know, but do you want to play the latest and newest champions? Yes, you probably do as well. Now, typically, champions that I enjoy or try to chase are champions that provide some kind of two-way utility, right? Some offensive damage and some defensive mechanics, or something that makes her, hey, damn, I picked her because I was going to fight this opponent, but he never ended up doing that, putting that defender. So now I'm going to put her on defense. She has none of that. She's not immune to anything. She's got some crazy combos that, like, maybe if you have to block it, you know, you're going to take some damage. But yeah, defensive, I don't see anything on her that I can see that, hey, this might be a specific thing when it comes to defense. But again, if you need that bleed and shock on your Battlegrounds deck, on your account, and you have the resources to take her to rank 2, rank 3, and the resources to chase the 7-star, then you're gonna enjoy her. There's no doubt in my mind that you won't. And then when it comes to her awakened ability, she really, I think Kabam did good here and not requiring her to be at SIG 200, because really she just needs an awakening gem, and that's it. Because the only thing that fluctuates here is that percentages, and those are based off her missing health. So ideally, yes, if she's missing more health, you've taken some hits, she kind of gets stronger. And the fight gets better and easier as she loses, you know, some health. But in Battlegrounds, in a scenario, maybe in Alliance War, you know, that might come in extremely useful. But in Battlegrounds, you know, people win by like 1% health. You know, people win by like literally seconds of a fight. So this situation, again, she needs just the awakening. And I think the awakening is important for that first bullet point, top tier. Armament grants 3 ranks of the deep wounds masteries. Which enhances including shock debuffs and inflicts instant shock. So those are really good features with her awakened ability. But yeah, man, 2025 starting off really nice with Okoye. I gotta say, this is not a bad champion. It's not a champion that we're just gonna be like, oh, what a dud. No, it's not that. It's just a champion that needs to fit what you need at the moment. And that is the question. That is the biggest question to answer. Do I need this champion? Do I need that offensive damage, bleed and shock? Do I need that evade specific counter? How's that good for me? Do I need high combo? Is there a specific, like, if you need a meta where it requires like 20 hits before you start dealing damage, she's the champ to go for, you know? And this is going to be all dependent on what Kabam decides to present to us. You know, there is a node that you won't deal no damage unless you're like above combo 10. Well, one of her combos is 15 hits. So she is amazing in that, I guess, perspective, you know? So it depends on what we're going to get presented for 2025. If you just want to be prepared and want to grab every single champion and have it ready to go, I used to play the game that way. Just be careful playing the game that way, I would say. Then yeah, get her. Why not? Well, those are my thoughts on Okoye, guys. Definitely, like I said, be on the lookout. Subscribe if you have not subscribed, because we're going to be putting out content on Okoye, just overall fights she can do, damage she can do, and just we're not going to do comparisons, but just mainly everything she can do, and then kind of break her down piece by piece. Let me know if you want to see that in a video format in the comments below. But take care, guys. Peace.